You killed her,
stated the stranger, his voice more shocked and stunned than distraught or broken. His yellow eyes, bright like the sun, were staring at her. He didn't seem afraid, though, or at least he didn't outright show it in any way other than his folded ears and tucked tail.
She was my sister, and you killed her.
She was a fool, Leopard corrected, relishing in the way that her words came out. She sounded so strong, so powerful. The way that the stranger's body trembled slightly as she spoke only confirmed what she thought of herself. A part of her wished that she had killed the wolf with her teeth so that she could taste the blood of the one that had been her real first victory. And now she's a dead wolf. If you'd like to be foolish, I can do the same to you. He stood his ground, though seemingly not intentionally. He still didn't act like he was specifically afraid of her, or perhaps he simply didn't understand the threat.
Her name is Iron.
He returned, sounding offended more than anything.
Our father left her that collar, and you killed her with it.
She huffed and took a slow, menacing step in his direction. Did your father die with it on? She inquired, keeping her ice blue eyes centered on him alone. Elder had long ago said that eyes like hers were unusual, an anomaly that was so rare as to be unheard of in other packs. She had learned to make use of anything that could give her an advantage, including the potential for her eyes to make other wolves uncomfortable,
Yes, in battle.
answered the small male, still not budging from his place just beyond the body of his sister. His unwavering stare and strange demeanor were making Leopard begin to wonder if there was something wrong with him. Then that's why, she returned, nodding towards the collar that was still wrapped around the broken neck of the wolf called Iron. All that she received was a blank stare in return, one that signaled an utter lack of understanding of the connection between the collar and the wolf's death. She narrowed her eyes at him, studying him for another moment before she spoke. You really don't know anything, do you, pup?
Up.
He questioned, seemingly bewildered by the use of the word. He shook his head and looked back at her.
I'm not a pup. Not even close. I'm like at least as old as you, if not even older.
Just over 3 cycles, she countered, referring to herself. You?
2.5.
He told her, but was quick to continue.
Closer to 3, really. So basically the same.
He then paused, going quiet for a moment.
I'm, the smallest of my siblings. Not the youngest, just the littlest.
So you're the runt? Leopard pressed, finding herself increasingly less impressed with the stranger. His initial apparent bravery had surprised her, but now she was beginning to think that it had just been veiled stupidity. His face heated up.
I wouldn't say that. I'm more of a.
Most mothers kill the runt, if there is one, she coldly informed him, not caring enough to hear his excuses for his diminutive size. But I guess that you got lucky, she frowned, perhaps disgusted with herself for carrying on the conversation for so long, or merely dissatisfied with what she knew she was going to say next. So, do you have a name, Runt? And much more importantly, can you give me a single good reason why I shouldn't kill you like I intend to?
Sparrow.
He answered, before nodding at a low hanging pine branch where a lone carrion bird had come to rest. The same creature that had prevented Leopard from catching up to him.
And that's Leaf Litter. She's my friend.
He then paused. frowning as he seemed to struggle with an answer for her second question.
You shouldn't kill me because I can help you somehow, probably.
She eyed the carrion bird, but was caught entirely off guard by his response. That wasn't what she had been expecting him to say. Most wolves would have been begging to be spared, but he hadn't. Perhaps that was why she didn't immediately tear out his throat like she had been planning to do ever since she had spotted him beside his dead sister. She had even figured out the best way that she would do it, a plan of action that took into consideration her wounded leg. Then again, there was still a chance that she'd kill him anyway. You can help me kill the rest of your pack? Really? She inquired.
They aren't my pack. Not really. Not exactly.
Sparrow explained, scrunching up his face as he spoke.
I was born into the pack, but they were never all that nice. I've kind of drifted away now that I'm old enough to. They didn't feed me. Not much, not enough.
His face fell, his gaze coming to rest on Iron's body before him. He used a paw to weakly prod the lifeless corpse.
Especially her. She was mean and nothing but.
She relaxed her body slightly as he spoke, though she remained ready for an attack. Then, it appears that we have a common interest, Leopard concluded. I want to kill your pack, and you want revenge because you hate them for what they've done to you.
Hate? Revenge?
He turned with a raised brow.
I don't hate them. Not exactly, no. Most of them are bad, but there are worse. One of my other sisters, Salt, the one that you scared off, she's vicious. But Mud is good. She's my sister too, and she's the one that I was looking for in the valley.
He paused, blinking a couple of times before looking at her again.
Sorry, why do you want to kill my family? What have we done to you?
You haven't done anything. I just need to kill as a means to an end. Nothing personal. You see, with your pack gone, I can have your territory and can build a new pack that's mine to rule, she explained. It felt odd to finally say her full plans aloud, much less to tell a stranger about them, but he didn't seem like much of a threat. And as she quickly realized, there was a chance that he could help her after all. She started to grin as she spoke. But you don't need to worry about those specifics. That's my problem, not yours. If you help me out, though, I can make you a part of my new pack. Then you can have all the food that you could ever want.
You wouldn't make me kill any of my family, would you?
He questioned, with a distinct concern in his voice, although he was quick to add another inquiry.
And if we're going to be starting a pack together, don't we have to be mates or something?
We'll see about who you have to kill, she told him. We'll also see about us being mates. As it is, that doesn't look so good, Runt. She shook her head and turned her attention to her leg that was still profusely bleeding. Perhaps she had been hurt worse than she had first thought. Right now, though, we should worry about finding somewhere to rest for the moment and collect our thoughts. Know anywhere that's good for that? He paused for a moment to think.
Some places, yeah, but they're on coyote territory. That's probably actually the safest, though. My mother doesn't like any of us going there, so I doubt Salt will follow.
I'm not worried about coyotes. They're small, she assured him, before adjusting her stance so that she'd be ready to go. She made sure to put as little weight on her injured leg as possible. Let's go before she gets back. I was originally planning on waiting for more to come, but it's probably smarter to have a proper plan. which you can definitely help with. Elder always said it's best to fight smarter, not stronger.
Who's elder?
Sparrow asked, turning away from her to face a direction that was downwind of them. He sniffed the air, glancing back at her before taking his first steps towards what Leopard assumed to be the coyote territory that he had brought up. As soon as he started moving, Leaflitter took to the air, circling overhead. An old wolf who thought he knew everything, Leopard told him, hobbling over to walk beside Sparrow. She was able to keep pace with him relatively easily, though she was forced to use her wounded leg in order to avoid falling behind. She didn't want him to get ahead of her and get the wrong idea. There was still a chance that he'd turn on her if he detected even a hint of weakness. Nevertheless, she gave the body of Iron one last fleeting stare as she started to move alongside Sparrow. Elder taught me most everything I know, and I taught myself the rest. He was a good alpha. The best.
Alpha?
He returned, with another glance towards her. An edge of fresh concern had entered his voice, though the reason for such wasn't clear. He swallowed hard before asking another question.
What, pack did you come from?
It didn't have a specific name. There wasn't any other packs anywhere close, so we didn't need a name. Everyone just called it the pack, she informed him, sensing his shift in attitude but not understanding why. She also couldn't help but notice how he appeared to calm slightly once she had spoken. Then again, it could have a name by now. I wouldn't put it past any of Elder's heirs to name it after themselves.
So, you came from a long way away?
He clarified, walking around a fallen tree that blocked their path. It seemed that downed trees were common in this forest, although none of them appeared recent. Whatever had been knocking them down must have stopped long ago. You could say that, she replied, turning her attention to the branches overhead. Leaflitter was flying just above Sparrow's head, following him. Above the little carrion bird was an interwoven mess of thin-leaved branches that made the sunlight on the forest floor appear fractured as it was filtered by the leaves. Things are a lot different where I come from. Different plants. No designated coyote territory. That kind of stuff. She paused as her last words left her maw. A sudden thought caused her to quickly look back at the canine beside her. Wait! You aren't a coyote, are you? He made a sound akin to a nervous laugh, a sound that did little to assure her worries. He avoided her eyes as he spoke.
No, of course not. I'm a wolf, definitely.
He assured her, though he quickly added on after a moment.
Mostly wolf, anyway. I never knew my father, but my mother is part coyote.
He looked at the ground.
Mixed blood. We have mixed blood. That's how the other packs described us, anyway.
I thought that your father gave the collar to Iron, Leopard asked. She had assumed that he had been present for when Iron received the collar, though his words seemed to contradict that. Furthermore, he had stated that his father had died with the collar on, which is a direct contradiction of the collar being given to Iron by him. Before he could speak, she proposed a second inquiry. And what about the other packs there? I kind of just assumed that it was just you all and the coyotes.
Well, yeah. He told our mother to give the collar to the strongest of his pups after he was dead. Then he died in battle, and she gave the collar to Iron on his behalf. So, not a direct thing, but it was still a gift from him.
He explained after a moment, seeming to assure her just as much as he assured himself.
The other packs are Gem, Crescent, and Sprout. They're a ways away from here, though. If you follow Maker's Valley all the way, you'll reach a mountain pass, and there on the other side of that, a huge valley thing with mountains on all sides.
He paused.
They're kind of like the big three packs in the region. Our pack used to be a part of that, but they forced us out. Our pack is called Red Rock, by the way.
She assumed that the Maker's Valley was a collective name for the valley that also included this forest, as well as the part with the Maker's construct. She also noticed that he referred to himself as still being part of the same pack as his siblings, but she didn't bother to bring up this discrepancy. She knew what he meant. And if she had to guess, the reason that his pack was where it was had something to do with the mixed blood that he had mentioned. Red Rock? She questioned, after a moment of silence. She sniffed the air as she spoke, but fortunately didn't smell any wolves approaching from behind. All that she got was the scent of her own blood, which was hardly comforting. Are there a lot of red rocks around here or something?
It's because rocks are strong.
He happily informed her. His words were punctuated by a soft croak from the carrion bird flying above him. He glanced behind them as if searching for the same danger that Lefford had been sniffing for, and he found nothing. They were still safe.
And we worship the red, so it only makes sense.
The red? Leopard further questioned, finding herself regrettably intrigued by his statement. She knew that she should have been focusing on getting to a resting place rather than chatting with this strange wolf that wasn't really a wolf, but it had been so long since she had spoken to anyone that she didn't want to let this conversation die. Do you mean the color, or...
Not exactly, but sorta. The red is inside you, and it's in everybody.
He answered, without explaining much. Surely anticipating that she'd ask next, he'd continue.
But it's not blood or flesh, and it's not the color. It's more like the idea of those things, the concept of them. The red is in the setting sun and in your heart. It's in the anger that you feel and the bloodlust of battle. The red is what makes us strong, and it can also lead to our downfall. Do you understand?
Yeah, you've lost me, she remarked before shaking her head. She went silent for a moment. My pack believed in nature, like a guiding mind behind everything that happens in the world. She stepped on a twig as she walked, feeling its hardly audible crunch under her paws just as much as she heard it. I don't know what I believe, and not entirely. I've seen too much, traveled too far to believe that there's a purpose to the world. As far as I'm concerned, the only things that matter are the things that you can control and make your own. For me, that's my teeth and my claws. Soon, though, I'll have a pack of my own, and that will be mine to control too.
It sounds like you want to pack really bad.
He quietly concluded, looking at the ground. There was a moment in which he went quiet, just as she had, being lost to his thoughts.
I don't know what seems so weird about that to me. I mean, I've spent my whole life trying to distance myself from my pack. Don't you ever think about the freedom that you'd lose? With a pack, you can't go to the places that you want to go and do the things that you want to do. You're confined, trapped.
I thought that you wanted to be a part of my new pack, she countered with a frown. So far, the only thing that Sparrow had proved himself to be good at were contradicting himself and making excuses for it. She had a feeling that such an excuse was sure to follow.
Well, yeah, but that's different.
Sparrow assured her. He met her icy gaze with his sunny eyes.
When you're the one to start the pack, you can do a lot more of what you want to. You make the rules. You're the one in control.
Exactly, Leopard agreed. Even though he had some difficulty in saying it, He was still on her side. A part of her wished that he could be more direct, but she also doubted that such a change was likely. Everything is different when you're in control. My old pack tried to control me, to trap me, but I broke free, and now I'm here, about to make my own pack. I won't make the same mistakes. Together, you and I can make this new pack into something truly spectacular.
That sounds good.
Picking up on her excitement that came to be reflected in his own body language. His tail began to slowly wag as he walked, giving him an appearance of childish weakness that Leopard didn't bother to comment on.
That sounds really good, actually. We won't make the same mistakes that your pack and mine did. We can do better. We just need a name. That's all that we're missing.
He paused, looking her over until his eyes settled on the bleeding bites on her leg.
How about Blood Pack? We can be Blood Pack.
She opened her mouth to immediately protest, largely because it was far too soon to be coming up with a pack name. But there was an undeniable allure to the name that he had proposed. It reminded her of something that Elder had told her, a single fact that guided so much of her journey until that point. The other backs cared about blood alone. Sparrow's suggestion, combined with Elder's old wisdom, was enough to bring back a weary smile to her maw. Blood Pack it is, then, Leopard returned. We'll be Blood Pack. Hi guys, it's Sprout. So, I just wanted to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for supporting Legends of Blood from the beginning and now with this book. Thank you so much for watching. If you can't buy, but if you're buying it, oh my gosh, thank you so much. So the physical book should be out now. If it's not, it will be out in a day or two. This is the first time I've published a book, so the covers gave us a little bit of issues. But the digital download is out. So the full book right now you can completely read if you buy it or if you already digitally downloaded it. So if you don't have a Kindle, there's a Kindle app, I believe. It's free for iPhones. I know some people have told me that you can read it straight off of Amazon. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Me and Ethan always are checking the comments, and I'm sure other people can help you as well. I also just wanted to do a quick note about people asking if I'll ever release the full book for free, and the answer is no, because this book helps pay for Ethan for all of his writing, as well as all the animations and the voice actors and my time and stuff like that. So I just appreciate, you guys for respecting it. Please don't repost the book anywhere. It took a lot of time for me to do these 3 chapters for you guys, and so I hope that you appreciate that and are able to support us by either the digital download or buying the book. And also hardcovers should be out as well in a week or so. That's a new thing for Amazon, and so we're having to get it completely formatted differently, but depending on when you're watching this, we might have all the versions. And yeah, so this, I hope you really enjoyed it, and we can make this a series, guys. Anything is possible with y'all's support. So make sure to tell your friends, and all this stuff. And I'm so excited to see how Legends of Blood grows. And that's all I'm going to say because I could ramble forever. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm a YouTuber. I forget sometimes. Don't forget to subscribe. Also, I'll have Ethan's information below. I will have the artist information below, everything down below. And I will see you guys all next time. Bye!